VTN BIZNESS DELITE, moving business forward.
Welcome to VTN BIZNESS DELITE. My name is Priska Chemeka, your host. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Kindly click on the red subscribe button, and also do not forget to hit on the bell icon so you can get a notification each time we drop a new interview. This week, we're bringing you a personality. He needs little or no introduction. He's one of the frontline players in the aviation industry. He's the MD CEO of Aero Contractors, in the presence of Captain Ado Sanusi. Sit back, relax yourself while we unfold the details.
Bravo Lima Golf is 737-500 in the hangar for CCheck. This is the first CCheck that will be happening in Nigeria. NCAA gave Aero Contractors the approval to conduct a CCheck. So we are doing this CCheck in-house for the very first time. We estimate that it will take approximately 6 weeks. A CCheck is a check that is usually performed in maintenance facilities outside the country. It involves stripping the aircraft bare, and then you remove the seats, you do inspections under the floorboards, and do the inspections, the CPCP, that is Corrosion Prevention and Control Program, and then you do all the inspections of the control surfaces beyond what we usually do during the 8A and the 4A checks. In East Africa, in North Africa and Southern Africa, in all the other regions of Africa, CCheck is something they have been doing over the years. This is the first time we're having it in this sub-region.
Aero Contractors CCheck Maintenance Certification to save FX for Nigeria. One of Nigeria's foremost indigenous airlines, Aero Contractors, took a significant step in asserting its leadership in the aviation industry with the attainment of the CCheck Compliance Maintenance Certification for aircraft. To mark this achievement, the Asset Management Company of Nigeria, AMCON, and Aero Contractors hosted industry stakeholders to the official rollout of the Boeing 737-5N BLG aircraft at the Ikeja local airport in Lagos. In his opening remarks, the CEO of Aero Contractors, Captain Ado Sanusi, commended AMCON and the Ministry of Aviation for the support to Aero Contractors. Captain Sanusi said the CCheck Compliance Maintenance Certification for Aero Contractors was a milestone for the airline that will see foreign exchange saved and capital flight reduced in the country. The Aero Contractors CEO was of the strong view that good policies, smart management, and dedicated staff contributed to the transformation of the airline through its challenging period to that of hope for the aviation sector. According to him, the certification will reposition Nigeria as a strategic aviation hub in Africa and the globe, as its maintenance facility will cater for aircraft, thereby enhancing capacity building and technical expertise in the industry. Aero Contractors is due to roll out one of its Boeing 737-300, currently undergoing CCheck in the next 10 days, and is already carrying out light maintenance for airlines in the country, showing it has the capacity to handle major maintenance. Captain Ado Sanusi gave us a brief background about Aero Contractors and CCheck.
from the Aviation Roundtable Initiative. With me on the program is one of the frontline players. He is Captain Abdul Sanusi, the MD CEO of Aero Contractors. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Briefly, sir, can you give us a brief background of Aero Contractors? That's really come a long way, sir.
Yeah, Aero Contractors is the oldest aviation in the company in the country. It started operation almost 59 years ago as an oil and servicing company, oil and gas servicing company, which was responsible for all the logistics of the then booming oil and gas industry. So they were in charge of flying mostly the oil and gas workers from the rigs, and also giving them fixed wing operation into some areas like Warri, Escravos, and everything. Eventually, the airline or the oil and gas support company grew into an airline. So it started schedule operations and then acquired some aircrafts that can go into schedule airline operations. And also, it by the time it was developing the oil and gas sector, it also developed the maintenance of those aircrafts. So it has three distinctive strategic business units. That is the charter business for oil and gas, the MRO, that is maintenance, repair, overhaul organization, and also the scheduled airline operation. Unfortunately, I think around 2013, the downturn of the economy and then the drop in the naira affected it so much that it went into receivership, and then I was appointed in February 2017 as the CEO. So we look at the company and try to rescue it because the company was underperforming, it was in distress, and then we had to come into the crisis management to ensure that we rescue the company and then put it into a recovery path. That was what we did in the beginning. We now study the whole problem, which is most prominent was lack of aircrafts. So we now looked at revamping the maintenance organization so we can do an in-house CCheck, because most of the aircrafts were due for CCheck, which is an 18-month heavy check on aircrafts. So we now looked inwards and then build the capacity to do the CCheck, which I will discuss further in the program. And then we did the first one, and we also looked at the bringing the helicopter business back into service so that we can give the oil and gas boost, and then also bring back the lost glory of Aero Contractors. We also looked at the scheduled airline, which we also put about 3 aircrafts back into service. So that's how we did. That's how we started the recovery process. But that is just for the medium term, the short term. We also are looking at the medium and the long term. Eventually, there should be a total fleet renewal in Aero Contractors.
Thank you so much, sir, for that in-depth response. Safety is the key word of the aviation industry. What light can you throw on this to ensure safety remains paramount?
Well, talking about Aero Contractors again, our watchword is safety. We're in business because we're safe, and that has been the brand of Aero Contractors. To remain safe, and that is what the customers want, because aviation industry inherently it is quite a challenging industry, so you have to remain safe to remain in business. Safety is very paramount. You can't cut on safety, and in Aero Contractors, that is what we pride ourselves in. So whatever we do, be it maintaining the aircraft, be it flying the aircraft, either charter or either fixed wing, be it helicopter, be it fixed wing or engines or anything, we pride ourselves in we do it safely. And our own goal is to keep transporting people from one point to another in a safe, then efficient manner.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful response. Is there any impact of the global recession on the aviation industry, with particular reference to Aero Contractors?
Of course, the aviation industry will always have an impact on the recession in the entire country will have an impact on the aviation industry. I will discuss particularly about aero, but in the entire industry, because if you look at it, aviation is the catalyst of economic growth. Now, if the economic of the country is slowing down, then of course that will affect the catalyst of that growth. Yes, the flying public will not fly. There will be a reduction of the passengers, and that will affect the aviation sector, and also the amount of the value of the naira will depreciate, which will also affect the aviation industry. Now, talking about aero contractors, as I said, we are in a crisis management. The recession will also deepen how we come out of the crisis. But luckily, we are looking at all options to make sure that we come out of it. And with the country coming out of recession, it helps a lot to continue the growth.
So some people are of the view that Nigeria should have a national carrier, as other big African nations. What's your take on that?
Any nation, the pride is for that nation to have a national carrier. So my take on it is we, as a patriotic Nigeria, we should have a national carrier. But is it feasible? Do we have the resources to do it? I don't think we do. By the things that are going with the government, with the federal government, I don't think they can deploy resources for a national carrier. Because if you look at it, we are struggling with the security, we're struggling with healthcare, we're struggling with education, we're struggling with so many things, poverty elevation, and then we will now deploy these meager resources that we have on a national carrier. And if you look at the national carrier, it is, of course, I don't want to undermine the fact that aviation is the catalyst of the economic growth of any nation. But also we have to understand that we have to put our priorities right. Now, if the federal government is going to use private sector to bring out a national carrier, yes, of course, it is a welcome development. But if you're going to use the meager resources, where the resources that probably would have benefited the entire or more part of the population of the country, I think we should look towards having free education for all, at least for primary schools. And I think we should improve the healthcare system in the country. Our hospitals should be well equipped. And then after all that, then we can look at, if the federal government has the money, then we can look at putting the money into national carrier. But if they want to do it through private sector, then it is a welcome development. But having a national carrier, it has to be a holistic approach, because you just don't want to create a company that buys airplanes and flies them around the country or around the world. You need also to have a formidable maintenance organization that will maintain the airplanes and create jobs for Nigerians. Like what we have in Aero Contractors. We have just upgraded the facility of our approved maintenance organization to a CCheck, meaning that we can conduct this CCheck on a Boeing 737, 300, 400, and 500, the classic. And it's the most used airplane in Nigeria, indeed in Africa. So we are creating jobs for young engineers that have graduated from Zaria and can come and join this industry that we are trying to improve upon. This CCheck has never been done in the country for the 737 Classic. The former Nigerian Airways used to do CCheck for older aircrafts. In fact, D-checks, but since the demise of Nigerian Airways, no company has taken up that mantle. So it is in this era that we're trying to create a national carrier or build up a national carrier. We should also look at supporting the national carrier with a maintenance organization. So it's not only the national carrier alone, but we should also have a national hangar that will support it. So it's a big project, and I hope the federal government is looking at it holistically.
Thank you so much for that response. What are the challenges facing your operation, and then how do you think the government should come? Can they come in to create a more conducive business environment to thrive?
The Nigerian aviation industry has been facing challenges. Unfortunately, we have not had any company that has gone beyond 10 years in operation without going under or declaring bankruptcy. And that is something to worry about. And I think that is something that people should study and look at it and see, why is the Nigerian airlines in the recent past have not been able to be in business for over 10 years. They always tend to either declare bankruptcy or they will even go under completely. So from my own little experience that I have, is there are a lot of external factors that affect the airlines in the country. Multiple taxation, unfriendly operating environment, where you find there is you give preference to international airlines even at the detriment of your local airlines. So those things must be addressed, and of course I think there must be deliberate policies by the federal government to protect the aviation sector by declaring it an infant industry, meaning they should be looking at giving them incentives, tax breaks, custom waivers, also removing the multiple taxation that is there, and also even giving them grants, allowing them to have access to cheap funds, trying to protect the industry and let it grow. You see, even if you have a small child growing, you would like to protect the child, you would like to give him good food, you would like to make sure that he grows and become a young, strong person. But if you starve the child of nutritious food and he doesn't grow, he will not grow to be a strong person and he cannot compete in the society. So it's the same thing that we're doing with our aviation industry. If we do not nurture it, if we do not protect it and allow it to grow, it cannot compete with the international community that has already well-established, matured airlines. But we should also look at international countries. They did the same years back, 50, 70 years ago. They protected their aviation industry, allowed it to grow, made it very strong. The Lufthansa of this world, the British Airways, the KLM, even coming to Africa, the Ethiopian, the South African, despite the fact they're having issues, the Kenya Airways, all of them state-owned airlines that have been protected right from the time they were growing. They were protected and they were given the right environment to grow and to grow very, very big and to become strong and to compete with the international community. If you look at the American system, it's the same thing. They protected their industry, they allow it to grow, and then they can now say, okay, go and compete internationally. But if we do not do that in our country, if we do not protect it, if we do not allow it to grow, then we are seeking for it to go and compete outside the country or with the big players, then we are, of course, expecting the failure of this airline. So it's not something that is going to be a surprise to us. I mean, we have somebody that is not strong enough, and we are saying compete with the guys that are strong. It's not possible to compete.
So what are your advice on the problem of corruption in the aviation industry?
Corruption in any industry kills the industry. So, and unfortunately, in aviation industry, it does not even kill it alone; it buries it completely. So, the issue of corruption in the entire society is already bad. Not to talk of an industry that is well disciplined. So, if you look at corruption in other industries, you might look at it as, okay, it is going to, there will be stealing of money, there will be losing of jobs, there will be society decay and everything. But if you look at aviation industry and corruption, is loss of lives, because when there is corrupt individuals in the aviation industry, it will mean safety is compromised. And the moment safety is compromised in the aviation industry, then there is bound to be crashes, then there is bound to be loss of lives. So it is extremely important to keep corruption out of aviation industry, or to bring it to the minimum that we can have. Because I'm a very realistic person. It is very difficult to say you're going to wipe corruption completely from aviation sector, but we can bring it to the minimum. And the way we can bring it to the minimum is very simple. Very simple. By just telling all the agencies that collect taxes or collect fees or collect whatever they collect for services rendered, to publish it. So let them have on their website, let them have access, let them give us access to fees collected and fees spent. So it's very simple to do that. So there won't be any issue of, oh, this airline paid, no, this airline did not pay. Oh, we used this money to pay this, or we didn't use this money to pay this. And by the act establishing most of these parastatals, they are supposed to publish their accounts. And I don't think any of them has published their accounts. And if they did, I have not seen. So it is very important to be transparent.
Wonderful response. What's your take about the lapses in aviation security, as many see it as a means of importing illegal weapons and items?
Yeah, the main problem of aviation security in most of the airports environs that we have in the country is the lack of admitting that the airports are vulnerable. Because if we do not admit our airports are vulnerable to this menace of insecurity, then we cannot even resolve the problem. If at every time we are defending, we are saying, no, it didn't happen, no, it cannot happen, no, it has never happened, then we have not accepted the fact that it can happen. So we'll always be taken by surprise. So that is the number one step. Any reported incidents of breach of security should be fully investigated and made public to everybody. Not to say that it cannot happen. If today an old lady maybe flying out of JFK makes a funny remark, or she has a bomb in her purse, she will be treated as if there is a bomb in her purse. Nobody will say, oh no, it is not so because she's an old lady or she's joking. No, they will take everything possible to investigate that and why she made that threat. Not that they will sweep it under the carpet and say it's an old thing. So the first step, the challenge of security in aviation industry, the first step is to accept that our airports are vulnerable and we can improve on what we have. And the moment you do that, you can see that you can grow the aviation security system much better than that. And then, of course, the issuance of duty cards, all those things should be. We should harness all the government arms, security arms, to ensure that when we give an on-duty card to anybody, he has been vetted by the security agencies, DSS and everything. And also we have tied his issuance of that on-duty card to his passport or to his bank account or something that can easily be traced. And we need to do background checks on these people, because you do not want to bring people and you have criminals within the system. And then, of course, the certification of the airport has gone a long way, and it's very good. It's a welcome development, and I applaud the FAN and Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority for doing that. But that is a step in the right direction. That does not mean we have reached our destination. We have just started the journey. The certification means we have to keep all the regulations and the condition governing that certification, and that is very important.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. For the sake of youths and those who are looking up to you as their mentor, what can you see has brought you this far in business and life generally?
It's quite an interesting question. The passion for aviation for me has started since when I was in primary school, when I was growing up in Zaria, when I used to see the aircrafts in the flying school come and display, aerobatic display on our playground in the primary school. But of course, the pilots didn't know that they were displaying on our playground in our second primary school. So I started to develop that interest, and I pursued the interest vigorously, and with God's help, I became a pilot, and I love the industry, and there's nothing so interesting in this world than to love what you're doing and be paid for it. Yes.
So, briefly, we want to meet Captain Abdul Sams. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
As I said, I started my flying career in Zaria, Nigerian College of Aviation Zaria, and went to the United States to complete it. Came back and joined the then Cabo Airlines, and I was first officer there. Then went back to the United States for a while. Came back and then joined still in Cabo. I was a flight engineer. Left Cabo and joined ExxonMobil as a pilot, and I became a deputy safety officer and a captain there. Then when Virgin Nigeria came, I left ExxonMobil and joined Virgin Nigeria. I was in Virgin Nigeria for about 8 months, then left and then took up a government appointment as the MD CEO of Nigerian Airspace Management Agency. Was there for about 3.5 years, developed the total radar coverage, and did some human capital development for air traffic controllers, tried to commercialize the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency on the model of NAV Canada. But I left after 3.5 years and then joined Arik Air as a line pilot, and then grew all the way to be the deputy MD of Arik Air, and then left. Then here as the CEO of Aero Contractors, and that's me.
You're really coming along. Relax enough when you're not working.
I love reading. I love sailing. I'm about the sailing club, and once in a while I play golf. So if I'm not walking, I'm reading, and if I'm not with my family, with my daughter, then I'm also playing or sailing or playing golf.
Wonderful. So far. You are headed from the MD CEO of Aero Contractors. Wonderful, very, very incisive.
Today, dollar is about 325. So by the time you pay me that money back, the value of that money has gone down by about 20%.
In a few years, I am very optimistic. With this government, things will change.
on this week's package of the VTN Business Delite. Trust you enjoyed it. Please do not forget to join us next week for another industry player. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I still remain your host, Priska Chemeka. Bye for now.